Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Count every day as a blessing for us to be able to assemble here. Once the AI STARGATE is in place, it will be a different reality. Now, I'm prepared for that reality. Why? Because we all knew this was coming. I'm going to play for you a video we published in the year 2020, in which the Holy Spirit revealed Trump's 2025 STARGATE AI program. You're not going to believe this. This is insane. We're going to start the show with this video here. I'm going to show you the date of this video 4 years ago, as you can see in the bottom of your screen. Now, I'm going to fix the resolution so this will play through, just because my computer doesn't have the power to push this. Oh gosh, do we want to do this at 720 or 360? Well, let's keep trying this here.
And you sleep now. Don't whisper, it's too loud.
I need more time. Once I've correctly deciphered the symbols on the altar, I will be able to master the time device.
Why? So you can be king of Groundhog Day? Daniel? this supposed to be doing that?
It's a coronal mass emission, like a giant solar flare.
But it's safe, right?
I distinctly remember sitting here listening to Carter prattle on about solar activity and a corona something.
Coronal mass emissions, I was just about to bring it up.
The P4X639 was once a colony of the ancients. They thrived there for thousands of years until they were struck with some sort of unspecified cataclysm, perhaps a disease.
2 weeks ago, SG-15 took these images of solar activity on P4X639.
Conqueror of time. In this context, I'd say more like master of the uncertain past. You're a skilled linguist, Dr. Jackson? Anyway, I'm sorry, but that just happens to be how I feel about it.
At some point, a beam shot out from the ruins around the altar and hit the Stargate. Then I was back in the commissary eating my Fruit Loops.
You were sent back in time.
For what, 6 hours?
Well, it wouldn't be the first time we've seen something like this. I mean, the Stargate did send us back to 1969.
To 1969. To 1969.
I'm fairly certain that we've traveled back in time, roughly about 30 years.
Assuming we locate the Stargate, how then do we get back to the future?
Back to the future. Back to the future.
Well, I speak 23 different languages. Pick one. Well, I speak 23 different languages.
Well, I speak 23 different languages.
Excuse me, who is this?
Cassandra.
Cassie's 13 years old.
Not anymore, Jack. You entered the Stargate a few seconds too soon. So the flare threw you far into the future.
In any case, facing certain destruction, they built the time machine.
They were going to go back and change their history to avoid their fate.
Right, but it didn't work.
If we don't find a way out of this soon, I'm going to lose it. It means go crazy. Wacko!
So there you saw it. And clearly there was the parts of the symbols in the time machine. And all we did was take the symbols of the Stargate and arrange them. And it spelled Trump's name. And now we have a Stargate artificial intelligence program. Now, many of you are probably wondering, Stargate to where? Well, where does God say, where did Jesus say the kingdom of heaven was? Let's see who gets the answer. Now, if you didn't pick up on it in that video, and I'll put a link to it, I found several of the arcs of triumph around the world that were aligned to 58 plus 58 degrees. If you don't know what 58 is, it's the number associated with Trump, as you could pick up on in the series. That is a solid connection, not a stretch. Something we found many years ago that has reconfirmed itself over and over again. Not just the 58 stories of a 66-story building, Trump Tower. Yes, the kingdom of heaven is within. So where do you think the enemy wants to go? He wants to go within. You guys, Stargate AI is the portal to within humans. Hacking the pineal. This is where they want to go. They want to have control of your mind. And artificial intelligence is the only way that they can do it. The eye is the lamp of the body, said Jesus. Your eye is either full of light or it is full of darkness. Let your eye be single or clear. That was a warning by Jesus himself to protect your seat of the temple, where the Holy Spirit sits. You're either going to be full of light or full of darkness. What do you think he was warning us about? The attack on the seat of the soul. Now, what else is going on? That was chilling, wasn't it? It was chilling even just watching that again. And that's called blind faith. It's where you do what the Holy Spirit tells you, not what other people tell you to do and cover. And apparently we were right over the target. Now, along with the bad will come the good, right? Because you gotta, it's, what does they say? It takes a teaspoon of sugar to make the medicine go down. So Trump's giving us a little bit of sugar, isn't he? And just hours ago, it was announced that he will be releasing the JFK files. Are you ready for this? JFK files, Robert F. K files, and Martin Luther K files. That's 3 Ks. In some sort of weird joke. And this is all going to happen within the next 45 days is what they're saying. So it hasn't happened yet, but there are these executive orders, as you're seeing on your screen here. And within 15 days, and then within 45 days, there is a plan of action to release these. Now, one of 3 things is going to happen with this. One of 3 things is going to happen with this. Either it's going to be a big nothing sandwich, or it's going to be a cover-up, or it's going to be the truth. Can you guess which one? It's interesting that Bush Sr., now I don't know what's going to happen with the release of these files, but isn't it interesting that Bush Sr. passed away not too long ago? Many people thought they saw him in the JFK tapes because he was CIA at the time. And so, what if Bush Sr.'s name comes up in the files? But it's too late. What are they going to do? What we need is an investigation into 9/11 so that people can be held accountable. Correct? Now, just 48 hours ago, we had a whole discussion about the Northern Lights being the portal back to the garden. Remember that discussion? And I told you the Northern Lights, now we had talked about this before, but for some reason, it just popped back up in my head again. And I presented that to you like 2 or 3 shows ago. And I told you that I thought that the Northern Lights were guarding the portal back to the Garden of Eden. Because the garden didn't go anywhere, you guys. And God had no reason to destroy the garden. Correct? The Bible tells us that Adam and Eve were excommunicated from the garden, and that the way back was guarded by a sword, an angel's sword, slashing around. And for that reason, I believe that the Garden of Eden is behind the Northern Lights, which look like an angel slashing his sword around. Yes, I believe the Garden of Eden is above us. You know, a lot of people talk about a concave Earth. Well, what is the opposite of a dome? It's concave. And what if the garden lines the inside of the firmament? And the trees of the garden are what we see as galaxies with an amateur telescope. Now, don't fall into the right-left paradigm. Oh, Casey believes in space. That's not what I said. With an amateur telescope, you can see spirals. Whatever those are probably the bottoms of the tree roots going into the garden. But we can't get there. And this is why NASA is trying to fire rockets at the Northern Lights. Now, this was announced 48 hours after we talked about this. What are they doing? Why are they sending fire into the ice?
Breezy. I'm feeling hot. Breezy. I'm feeling hot.
I find it unlikely.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Freeze, and she's feeling hot. Fire and ice is real. Now, we're going to get into Mr. Freeze at some point. I'm probably going to break that down related to the Batman and Robin lore. But this is crazy. What is NASA doing? Let's read. This week, NASA claims to fire off rockets into the night sky over Alaska in an attempt to better understand polar auroras, the Northern Lights. Like a snowflake or a fingerprint, each aurora is unique. They appear as ribbons of light, ranging over the whole color spectrum. Each event is one-time only light show across the night sky. Now understand that we did videos talking about the Northern Lights appearing in the south. This is a new phenomenon. While scientists have generally understood what causes polar auroras, charged particles released by the sun, known as solar flares, interacting with the Earth's magnetic field, they're not sure what causes their unique movements. Well, that's the angel's sword. Specifically, researchers at NASA want to understand why some auroras flicker, others pulsate, and others appear to have holes. NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center that sounds like the Goddard Base Tunnel, is flying two creatively named missions out of the Poker Flat Research Range in Fairbanks. Let's see what the name of these missions are. Now understand, there's something up there. Trump wouldn't be talking about taking Greenland and Canada, which most of Canada is not populated. The northern part of Canada has no people in it, the North Pole. So guess what? Trump is making a move on the portal. That's what's really happening here. Let's keep reading. The first mission, designated as ground imaging to rocket investigation of auroral fast features, Giraffe, is aimed at firing rockets at what NASA has determined are two distinct subtypes of aurora, so-called fast pulsing auroras, which flash on and off a few times a second, and the other for flickering auroras, which do so up to 15 times a second. Each rocket is equipped with instruments that will take measurements of collisions between electrons coming from solar flares and electrons in Earth's magnetosphere. Second mission will fire rockets into the dark spots or holes. Okay, we're on to something now. The holes, which would likely be the portal out, right? The mission is named the Black and Diffuse Aurora Science Surveyor. What is that acronym for? BDAS. Oh, Like badass. According to a news release from NASA, its acronym will be left as an exercise to the reader. These people. Now, I'll put a link to this, but this is chilling, isn't it? Now, let me check back in with you guys and figure out what's next. Because if they're already up there at the Garden of Eden portal, this could be the precursors to Armageddon. Maybe they're getting ready for the final battle. This is why there's this strong push to artificial intelligence, hive mind, drone swarms, and portaling into your brain. The Stargate, no flesh left. I believe it's starting to happen now. Now, let's get into and finish up MIDSOMMAR, Fire and Ice. Now, I'm going to spare you all of the troubling scenes, just giving you a heads up that there won't be any troubling scenes. I know this was a very, very heavy movie to watch. It was difficult for me to even get through it the second time. We decoded this at one time, but now I'm going to show you something that I missed the first time. This woman here basically is the object of, she becomes the May Queen in this ritual of fire and ice. The ritual is called MIDSOMMAR, and it occurs at the summer solstice up in Sweden. But it is opposed by another ritual ceremony, which is the dead of winter. Now, they explain this in the movie. We already did a decode on the first part. So if you're catching up now, you should probably watch part 1 of MIDSOMMAR that we did a couple days ago. But what they're going to mention next is how the life cycle of human life in this cult is divided up into 666 increments. What are you talking about, Casey? Well, 18 years old is 666. Then they go to the next increment, 36 years old, which is double 666s. Then they go to the next increment, 54 years old. That's triple 666s. And the final one, 72 years old, which is a fourth 666. The 4 seasons of renewal, they call each of these segments of life. Watch.
Well, we think of life like the seasons. So you're a child until you're 18, and that's spring. And then at some point we all do our pilgrimage, which is between 18 and 36, and that's summer. And then from 36 to 54, we're a working age, which is fall. My parents, they burned up in a fire, and I became technically an orphan. And then finally, from 54 to 72, you become a mentor.
Now, you just heard him explain what I just explained to you. The summer ends up being the season of burning, the burning of life. And the winter ends up being the end of the 72-year life cycle. So, fire and ice, summer and winter. Now, all of this is represented in this movie as this symbol here. We're going to break down the rune called Opala. Othala, Opala, those are the 2 names for it. And this is it here. And you can almost kind of make out why this symbol represents the 4 seasons. And I'll explain that to you as well. Let's play this back so you can see the symbol in its entirety in the shape of the way that the tables are laid out. And then we'll break down the symbol.
And then from 36 to 54, we're a working age, which is fall.
So what is the symbol? Well, this is it right here. The Othala. Now, We had done many videos on this symbol, haven't we? Because Ophia, O-P-H, means that your eyes have been opened. It also means serpent. O-P-H. This is where the name opium comes from. It's the opening of the eyes and the window to the soul. But look at this. You can almost make out why this would be represented as the four seasons, because it's a pathway, isn't it? You start here at the bottom. You go to spring, summer, fall, and then you come out winter, and it's over. Now, what is this all about? Well, this symbol has actually been used in the negative by the Nazis. And they talk about that down here. There's the symbol right there, far right symbol. But other people say they use it for good. But lo and behold, in the Stargate SG-1 universe, there was a planet called Othala by the same name, located in the galaxy of Ida, and is one of the primary worlds within the sphere of Asgard, control and capital planet of the Asgard race until it was evacuated. So, now we have more connections to Trump, don't we? The symbols of the literal Stargate time machine.
Listening to Carter prattle on about solar activity and
Let me show you. The symbols of the Stargate, arranged to spell Trump, which was the original family name. Now, I remember when we did this video, a lot of people unsubscribed. Casey, you're seeing Trump everywhere. Well, now we know. Stargate AI. So we're piecing this all together, right? Because these people can't help themselves. It's all about the symbolism. There must be some spiritual rule or law that forces them to tell us and show us the truth, so that when the time comes and Jesus returns, nobody can really say they didn't know. And Jesus will read their heart and realize that it was their own ego and their own worship and desire to worship man instead of Jesus' kingdom coming that caused them to reject the truth. This is a judgment. Your life is essentially a series of choices in which God has to reveal the truth to you. He knows he's not going to hang you out to dry. The truth is out there, as they say. The only thing preventing people from seeing it is their own hardened heart. It's much like what happened with the Pharaoh, right? God gave him 10 chances to see the truth, and he kept rejecting it. So why would God hang us out to dry? He wouldn't. He's literally forced the devil to show us the truth through the devil's own scripture. It is us who rejects it. And when I say us, I'm not talking about you and I and the people on this channel. I'm talking about the people that mock, scorn, and scoff when all of these synchronicities are shown to them in plain sight. And that's between them and God. We can't force them. All we can do is continue the work that we do here. Correct? Now, what else is going on? Well, let's go back to, I know we're a little bit all over the place today, but so this life cycle and this main character here, the entire movie started with her family, her parents and her sister dying in a CO2 filled room. Literally, her sister committed suicide and then took her parents with them. and it was in the dead of winter. So the movie starts in the dead of winter in the ice, and then it ends in the fire. So it's a life cycle, isn't it? And think about it. What is the byproduct of fire? It is CO2. And this is how it ends, with the bodies in MIDSOMMAR being burned and giving off the CO2. So there's something to this. This is alchemy. And it's very occult, and it's the tools of the devil. This is why they're so obsessed with fire and ice. Now, again, I'm not going to rehash the nightmare plot of this movie again. I just wanted to, pull out the fire and ice symbolism for you so you could see it clearly against the backdrop of what's happening right now in current events. We are literally on fire and ice. In the dead of winter, fires are still raging in Southern California. Hughes Fire. There's new fires that have erupted outside of LA now. The Hughes Fire off of Sepulveda Boulevard and the 405 is now raging. There's also one up near Magic Mountain in Valencia. So 2 more fires raging while the rest of the nation is frozen. All the way down into the south. You guys, there's still snow on the ground in Florida. 3 days later after that blizzard rolled through. So these are the stories on the fires raging in Los Angeles right now. Here's the Hughes Fire north of Santa Clarita and the Sepulveda Fire. Those are the 2 fires currently going on. Now, that was about all I had for you guys today. Tomorrow, I'll probably get into Mr. Freeze and see if I can find any clues about what's happening right now and any other headlines that we might find. And of course, the Trump tracker. Again, it's like a daily thing now because everything's going at a fever pitch. There's a lot going on, so we'll try to keep up with everything being disclosed. I'm back in the chat for a little bit. We could do a little Q&A with you guys. Good morning. Central Florida is cold, says Groveland Girl. San Diego and Baja, says Barry. Santa Clarita Diet. Freezing in Tampa tonight. Yes, Southern California is in bad need of rain. They thought there was rain in the forecast to put out the first LA fire. I think that might have happened already. I'm not too up on the weather and what's going on. But now the fires are raging again. The good thing is the Santa Ana winds blow from east to west. So whatever's on fire can only really go west. It's not going to come back and go east up the mountains. So, Casey, do you believe these are the Watchers? Yes. Or descendants of, or the same spirits of. Now, the book of Enoch says that the Watchers were buried in the mountains and valleys of the earth. And there's a prophecy in the book of Enoch that we've talked about. And essentially what the prophecy says is that these spirits were buried in the mountains and valleys of earth, but they will be resurrected to judgment in the last days. In other words, they'll be literally brought back to life. And this could be like the Titans, right? This could be like the days of Noah where giants are around. They won't be around long because they're resurrected to judgment. In other words, they're resurrected for the last days so that they could be destroyed forever. And Enoch says when this happens, when they're resurrected to judgment, the springs, the hot springs of the earth, it literally says hot springs of the earth will grow cold. So this will be something to watch. This is what we'll know when we get like news headlines that say, oh, there's no more hot springs on earth anymore. They're cold. Which, of course, suggests. What does it suggest? That all of the hot springs of Earth get cold? What would that suggest to you? Think about it against the backdrop of fire and ice that we've been talking about. What do you guys think? There's some smart people here. Yes, they're under the hot springs. Now, what else Enoch's, his prophecy says is that the hot springs of earth will be used by the kings for healing, but that their souls would go dark. So they would get healed by it, but then their souls, it would be a judgment of their souls. So what the hot springs going cold says to me is that it will be very cold everywhere, not just the hot springs. That tells me we're headed for a dark winter. Remember, Biden spilled the beans? Dark winter. So, interesting times, right? Sulfuric souls. All right. Read Jeremiah 8, 9, and 10. Yes, Ice Age. Now, we had talked about an Ice Age all the way back to the beginnings of this channel in 2012. Why? Because it was an aspect of I, Pet, Goat 2. And some people thought, well, that's probably ash. Well, it could be. It was floating around in the air in I, Pet, Goat 2. Let's pull up some images of that since we're here. But there is definitely ice on the landscape as well. You can see this ash-like snowflakes or ash, but the ground is also frozen. It's clearly frozen. So it's also an ice landscape as well. There's a good image here. So, is this our future? I don't know. It's an animated film from 2012 that's been pretty accurate about so many things that had not happened yet. Are the people that made I, Pet, Goat necessarily good? No. Again, remember the rule, the spiritual law. They have to disclose the truth so that when judgment comes, nobody can say they didn't know. It's a heart issue. It's ego. It's who you worship. Is your heart hardened like Pharaoh and you refuse to see the truth? Do you worship a man and think a man can solve our problems when the Bible says exactly the opposite? That men won't solve our problems. Bible never talks about a golden age, does it? So, here we are. All right. The snow in Louisiana is poison. It won't melt. People's eyes are burning, says Patty. Wow. Now, I don't know about you, but censorship has not budged. Even since Zuckerberg's announcement, even since, Trump's announcement, the fact checkers and all this, he's doing away with that. And so did Zuckerberg. He said the same thing. The censorship has not changed. To give you an idea, I did a community post yesterday. I have a Facebook group. It has 7,500 people in it. And look, I understand a lot of people got off social media, but my job is to reach people on social media. Okay. I applaud you for getting off of there. I understand the frustration. I understand when you used to have a Facebook and you post something and you get 0 people that saw it. But yet when you post a picture of a cat or dog, you get 100 likes. And you're like, is it that people don't care? Or is it that they're not seeing my posts? Well, none of that has changed. Look, we can give Trump a little bit more time on that. Hey, heck, I'll give him 9 months, a year. It's not going to change. The following that you've amassed on some of your social medias, because I know some of you have pretty big, Twitter accounts. You have pretty big Facebook, friends. Some of you have thousands of friends on Facebook, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. You post something and it's like nobody saw it. That's not real. If everyone gets a message of notifying them of a post that they asked to follow, at least half of those people are going to thumbs that up. 500, 600. So something is wrong. Still, nothing's changed. We have the illusion of change. So I posted a picture of Trump's name in the Stargate, which that should be seen by billions of people, right? Wow, how did this channel know that Trump was going to build the Stargate AI? How did he know that? But it's still sitting at 16 likes, 1-6, with 7,500 people that it should have went out to. So shadow banning is still happening. And look, I'm not complaining. I know this. I'm telling you, this happens to all of you too. I'm trying to call it out so that it can be fixed. Because if no one calls it out, then the powers that be won't fix it. They won't be forced to face the lie that they're telling us, correct? Zuckerberg just gave Trump $1 million. Well, Trump should come back at him and say, look, you can't shadow ban people. If they have thousands of followers, their posts need to go out to every single one of those followers. There should be a social media censorship czar, right? We're the people. We're the ones on social media. There should be someone handling that. That's way more important than mainstream news fact-checking Trump. It's not all about just him and how they quote-unquote went after him. And I say quote-unquote because I don't believe any of that was real. This is about you and me, the hundreds of millions of people who want to scream out and have a voice, just like the person who just said that something's wrong with the snow in Louisiana. You're not going to hear that anywhere because the social media sites have quieted those people. Now, I understand that TikTok is a little bit better at allowing people to talk about what's personally happening to them in their life with, but then you've got to deal with all the other nonsense on TikTok that distracts you and steals your privacy. And I know all these social media sites are stealing your privacy. I'm not saying anyone is better than the other, but this is huge. This is huge. This is the biggest problem. Stealing someone's voice, stealing natural, organic uprising has been stolen away from us. So, yes, we talked about the crypto drunk monk. Yeah, we've been talking about that since 2020. We've been calling out Trump's flip-flop on the crypto. Many videos about that, warning about cryptocurrency, the death currency that is the segue into the digital currency. That's what it always was. And, I see channels that used to push crypto, tell people how to make money with crypto, and now they're finally getting it, but it's too late. They already told all their followers to help build the blockchain. It just makes me sick sometimes. And now all of a sudden we're figuring out that crypto's not good. It's too late. We already field tested it for them. But yet we said in the very beginning when crypto first came out, said this is not good, you guys. Oh, Casey, it's the freedom currency. No, it's not. And I've never wavered from that. I've never told you, oh, maybe we should use crypto to make money. Never wavered from that. I also told you that Biden hired all those IRS agents, and he literally stated during his presidency that their main goal was to go after crypto people. And I told you, I said, see, now you're going to get audited. If you made any significant amount of money with crypto, you're the first people they're going after. Now, if you're still in the right-left paradigm and you believe, oh, well, at least Trump's managing it now. No. It doesn't matter who's managing it. They're all on the same side. It's the segue to the digital currency. And once the digital currency is in place, there will be zero privacy. Zero. All of your transactions will be logged and documented. Things can be turned off and on based on your behavior. They can go directly into your account to collect taxes. So That's the shape of things to come. What else is going on, you guys? Baron singing Amazing Grace on MAGA songs. Really? Yes, they'll force behavior. Who sells online stuff? And are the sales down? Just a Girl wants me to do a poll. All right. If you sell online, are sales down? Yeah, think about the frustration of that. Imagine if your efforts to try to have an online business have been affected and you're being like shadow banned. Think about it. The artificial intelligence can monitor that, can't they? They can throttle that. They can direct traffic. Did you see Trump's sword? No, I didn't see that. So sword was, Trump was saber rattling, huh? Interesting. Yeah, and I do know that he accepted, what was it, $660 billion for Saudi Arabia, more investments. You guys, you think that foreign investments is good for America? Are foreign investments from all these random countries good for America? I don't think it is. Because now they've got a horse in the race in our country. Trump talks about sovereignty. Well, what's sovereign about Saudi Arabia, Japan, all these countries now investing in our country? Wait a minute. Aren't Americans supposed to be doing all this? Look at Elon Musk. He's not even American. He's from South Africa. We're being taken over. It's globalism. It's globalism. Straight up. He's mixing the pot. All these countries coming in. Where do you and I fall into this? We're Americans. How do we benefit from this? We don't. They just give us the appearance with Trump's words. Trump's words are all we have to hang on. And a lot of people are hanging on that. It's insanity. So a lot of people have online sales that are down. About 62% of you. So that's weird, right? Something has changed. Thanks for that. 37 votes. Why are we building an artificial intelligence? Where, okay. State of the Union. Inaugural address. Here's what Trump should have said. We reject artificial intelligence as a part of our daily life. Instead, we're going to get back to the roots of what America used to be. We'll build technologies, but the technologies will be for the people. And our focus will be all the things that people buy, consumer goods. You know, lawnmowers, tractors, shovels, rakes, chainsaws, make our own food again. Right? We have enough resources here. Why is everything based on trade? Why do we care what China is doing over here and importing? We don't need China's stuff. Let's make our own stuff. That's how you build America back. Not with all this stuff Trump's talking about. Artificial intelligence, foreign investors. I mean, am I crazy? Am I crazy? Somebody, please. And I'm welcome to criticism. As long as you're nice. But I want to grow our own food again. I want to drive through America and see a huge plant. A John Deere plant. I want to see huge tractors on the side of the road. I want to see fields and fields of things growing. I want to watch videos of production lines and everyone working with jobs. I don't want to see a data center Some secretive with barbed wire up to the ceiling. Some secret control mechanism with, with a bunch of foreign people walking around. I don't want to see that. Nuclear power plants all over the landscape. I don't want to see that in America. But yet, here we are. How did this happen? It happened because of the right-left paradigm. It happened because people fell asleep watching the battle royal. Trump mopping the floor with Kamala. Trump making fun of Biden. Kamala and Biden pretending to go after Trump. Well, Casey, they didn't find anything. Trump's innocent. You're still asleep. Who do you know in your lifetime that went through so many indictments and never got indicted? Never went to jail? I don't know a single person. That's what shows you it wasn't real. It was all a show by both sides. And I'm going to end the show with this. We proved it yesterday. This whole Stargate AI was already planned years ago. Smack dab in the middle of the Biden presidency. Billions of dollars already invested in this plan. It didn't matter who was going to become president. It didn't matter. We would be here and Kamala would be saying, through adversity, we conquer. We conquer through adversity. The adversity of conquering is how we conquer adversity. Through the Stargate AI. This would be the speech. Just a different mouthpiece. It didn't matter. And that's how you know. Love each and every one of you. I will be back on here tomorrow. Take care, everybody.